Hello friends, hope you're having a great day so far. Thank you as always for joining me in our weekly devotional videos. It's good to study scripture together. We are wrapping up the book of Genesis this week. Chapters 45 through 50 is our stretch of text. Hopefully you're caught up. If not, work at your own pace as always, and we'll go through the text and gain insight together. All right, chapters 45 through 50. Now Joseph has been freed from prison. Although he was forgotten at first, the cupbearer of the king remembers him and calls upon him to interpret Pharaoh's dreams, which predicts 7 years of plenty and then 7 years of famine. And so Pharaoh, looking around for someone wise and responsible, picks Joseph, who has just interpreted his dreams, to run the kingdom of Egypt. And so Joseph becomes the second in command in all of the land. And then his siblings come calling in the years of famine because there's no food in the land of Canaan. And they come across their brother, not realizing that it's him, and he tests them. He gives them reason to come back and eventually reveals himself to his brothers. And that's chapter 45 where we find ourselves for this week. He reveals that he is still alive, that he, even though was sold into slavery, has now overcome and been exalted to a place of honor in Pharaoh's palace. So, chapter 45, we're going to focus on verse 7. And for this week, I want to focus on what God does in the silence of life. How God is on the move even when it doesn't seem as though he is. Now, Joseph is able to, at this point, reflect on what has happened to him, and he encounters his brothers in a land where there is famine, where there is starvation, and he is able to provide for his family because initially he was sold into slavery by his brothers. And so, chapter 45, I want to focus on verse 7 here. He tells them, beginning in verse 6, "For 2 years now there has been famine in the land, and for the next 5 years there will be no plowing and reaping. But God sent me ahead of you to preserve you for a remnant on earth and to save your lives by a great deliverance." Now, although Joseph didn't realize it at the time, God was setting him up for later success. And so the trials that he faced, whether it be slavery on the one hand or prison on the other, then he has overcome, and God has provided a place of honor for him so that he can preserve a remnant of God's chosen people. He can provide for his family. And so when we ask the question, what is God doing in the story? It is God is working behind the scenes. God is working in the background, setting things up so that his promises will be fulfilled. And so we can hope in the future knowing that his promises will be fulfilled, but we can't understand the meaning or what is happening behind the scenes until we're down the road further. And so I don't know what you're facing in your life right now, whether it is difficulties, whether it's a season of plenty. Know that God is on the move. Know that he is working behind the scenes oftentimes, and in his provision is placing us for specific times and places, and that if we live into his promises, hoping for the future and recognizing his faithfulness in the past, well, then we can look down the road once we've gone through the trial or through the season of good things and recognize God's hand at work, even when we didn't realize it in the moment. So, how is God working behind the scenes in your life? Is he positioning you for later blessing? If we trust in his promises, he will always, always, always be faithful to what he has told us he will do. Thank you for joining me. I will see you later this week as we wrap up the book of Genesis. Looking forward to that with you all, and I will see you next time.